Bullies taunted the new girl. Then she revealed her secret and made them regret everything. The whispers started the moment Mira Abramovich stepped through the doors of Westlake High. At 15, she was small for her age, with thick glasses and dark curly hair that fell in unruly waves past her shoulders. She walked with her shoulders hunched, clutching her books like a shield. What the students of Westlake didn't know was that Mira had spent 7 years training intensively in Krav Maga. Her father, a former Israeli Defense Forces instructor, had insisted she learn to defend herself. By 15, she could disarm grown men twice her size, but Mira had promised her parents she would never use her skills at school unless absolutely necessary. "Fresh meat," whispered Tiffany Blackwell as Mira walked past their table on her first day. Tiffany was the undisputed queen of Westlake High. Tall, blonde and beautiful, her lieutenant Brittany Chambers snickered in response. The third member of their trio, Zach Porter, Tiffany's on-again, off-again boyfriend and the star quarterback, barely looked up from his phone. The cafeteria was where it started, a precisely timed bump that sent Mira's lunch tray flying. The hallways became a gauntlet, where mysterious feet would suddenly appear in her path. The gym locker room offered ample opportunity for her belongings to go missing. Through it all, Mira kept her head down. She'd promised her parents she would try to fit in after an incident at her previous school, where she'd broken a boy's arm after he'd grabbed her inappropriately. Her parents had moved their entire lives to give her this second chance. "Why don't you go back to whatever country you crawled out of?" Tiffany hissed one day as she knocked Mira's books out of her hands. Mira bent down silently to gather her scattered papers, even as her mind flashed with a dozen ways she could have Tiffany on the ground in seconds. But instead, she simply mumbled, "I was born in Cleveland." This only seemed to infuriate Tiffany more. "Did you hear that, Britt? The freak speaks." As the weeks progressed, the bullying escalated. Mira found cruel notes in her locker. Someone created a social media page mocking her appearance. In chemistry lab, her partners accidentally spilled chemicals on her project, earning her a failing grade. "Why don't I just stand up for myself?" Mira thought one evening, practicing her katas instead of doing homework. One demonstration, and they'd leave me alone forever. But she knew why. Her parents had sacrificed everything to move here after the incident at her old school. I can't put them through that again. So Mira absorbed the daily indignities. She developed routines to avoid her tormentors, taking alternate routes between classes, eating lunch in empty classrooms, becoming invisible. Then came the chemistry project. Against all odds, Mira was paired with Zach Porter. Tiffany was furious, but there was nothing she could do. The teacher had assigned the pairs and refused to change them. "Don't get any ideas," Zach told Mira bluntly. "I have a girlfriend." "I'm aware," Mira replied dryly. "Let's just do the project." To her surprise, Zach wasn't as stupid as she'd assumed. During their third session, he even laughed at an observation she made about their teacher. "You know, you're not as weird as Tiffany says," he admitted. "High praise," Mira muttered. Zach looked embarrassed. "Look, it's just Tiffany's jealous. You're really smart and that bugs her. She makes my life hell because she's jealous. Anyway, I told her to ease up on you." Mira thought that might actually improve things, until the next day when she found Tiffany waiting for her in the girls' bathroom. "Having fun with my boyfriend?" Tiffany demanded, blocking the exit. Brittany stood guard by the sinks. "We're just lab partners," Mira said. "The teacher assigned us. He told me you were flirting with him. That lying jerk." "He's not my type," Mira said, trying to move past her. Tiffany shoved her back. "Don't you dare try to walk away from me." "Freak!" Mira felt her training kick in, her stance automatically adjusting, weight shifting to the balls of her feet. She forced herself to relax. "Please, just let me go to class." "Oh, we'll let you go," Tiffany said, with a dangerous smile. She reached into her purse and pulled out a pack of gum. After a little makeover, before Mira could react, Brittany grabbed her from behind, pinning her arms. Tiffany approached with a wad of chewed gum. "Your hair is such a mess anyway. Let me help you style it." Mira struggled, but Brittany was surprisingly strong. "I could break her hold in 2 moves, she thought desperately. "But I promised." Tiffany worked the sticky gum deep into Mira's curls, making sure it was hopelessly entangled. "There," she said finally. "Much better." Brittany released her with a rough shove. "You might want to invest in some scissors." She laughed as they left. Mira stood frozen, reaching up to feel the disgusting mass now stuck in her hair. She tried running water through it, tried using soap, but the gum had been worked in too thoroughly. Tears of humiliation burned in her eyes. She called her mother to pick her up early. At home, her mother tried everything: ice, peanut butter, special solvents. Nothing worked. "Mira," her mother said finally, "I think we need to cut it." "All of it?" Mira whispered. Her mother squeezed her shoulder. It might be easier to start fresh. That evening, Mira sat on a kitchen chair as her mother carefully shaved her head. With each pass of the razor, Mira felt something inside her changing, hardening. By the time her mother finished, Mira barely recognized the person in the mirror. Her features seemed sharper, more defined. "It will grow back," her mother assured her. "And actually, you look strong. Strong. Not pretty, not cute. Strong." Mira ran her hand over her smooth scalp and found she agreed. Her father came home and froze when he saw her. "What happened?" When Mira explained, his face darkened. "This is bullying. We should go to the school." "No," Mira said firmly. "I'll handle it." That night, Mira lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She had kept her promise. She had endured the taunts, the humiliation, the isolation, and where had it gotten her? "I've been fighting with one hand tied behind my back," she realized, "but they crossed a line today, and I'm done hiding who I am." The next morning, she dressed with care, black jeans, a fitted t-shirt, and comfortable sneakers. She skipped, her glasses in favor of contacts, and looked at herself in the mirror. Without her hair and glasses, her large dark eyes dominated her face. She looked ready. Her new appearance caused a stir when she entered Westlake High. Conversation stopped mid-sentence as she walked down the hall, head high, shoulders back, moving with the fluid grace of a trained fighter. "Oh my God," someone whispered. "What happened to her hair? Actually looks kind of badass." Emma Chen approached hesitantly during lunch. "I like your hair," she said. "It looks cool." "Thanks," Mira replied with a small smile. "Did you do it because—" Emma stopped, uncomfortable. "Because Tiffany and Brittany put gum in it? Yes." Mira said it loudly enough that several nearby students turned to look. "But I'm actually grateful to them now." Emma's eyes widened. "You are?" "Yes. They helped me realize something important." Mira closed her lunchbox. "Excuse me, I need to find someone." She didn't have to look far. Tiffany and her crew were in their usual spot in the cafeteria. The buzz of conversation grew as Mira approached their table. Tiffany seemed too shocked to speak at first, then recovered with a cruel smile. "Nice haircut, freak. Finally decided to embrace your inner alien." Brittany snickered on cue. Zach, sitting beside Tiffany, looked uncomfortable. "I wanted to thank you," Mira said calmly. Tiffany blinked. "What?" "For the haircut. It was time for a change." "You're even weirder than I thought," Tiffany scoffed. "Did they remove part of your brain along with your ugly hair?" "No," Mira replied evenly. "But they did remove something. My patience for people like you." The cafeteria had gone eerily quiet, everyone straining to hear. "Is that supposed to be a threat?" Tiffany stood up, using her height advantage. "Not at all," Mira said. "Just a statement of fact. I've been very patient with you, Tiffany, but that patience is gone now." "Whatever. You got what you deserved." She made a dismissive gesture. "Now get lost before I decide you need another makeover." "No," Mira said simply. Tiffany's eyes narrowed. "Excuse me?" "I said no. I'm not going anywhere. In fact, I think you owe me an apology." Laughter erupted from Tiffany and Brittany. Even Zach cracked a smile. "An apology?" Tiffany repeated incredulously. "The only thing I'm going to give you is a black eye if you don't walk away right now. The would be a mistake." "Prove it, freak." Tiffany gave Mira a hard shove. Instead, Mira didn't budge. It was as if Tiffany had pushed against a concrete wall. Uncertainty flickered in Tiffany's eyes. "That," Mira said quietly, "was your last free shot." Tiffany glanced at Brittany, who immediately stood up. "There are two of us, and one of you," Tiffany pointed out. "And we're both bigger than you." "Size isn't everything," Mira replied. She took a step back. "But if you really want to do this, let's take it outside." "Fine," Tiffany snapped. Behind the gym now, whispers rippled through the cafeteria as Tiffany and Brittany stalked out, with Mira following calmly. Students scrambled from their tables, not wanting to miss the showdown. The area behind the gym was a secluded spot, a blind spot for the school's security cameras. By the time Mira arrived, a circle of eager spectators had already formed. Tiffany and Brittany stood in the center, radiating confidence. They were both athletes, Tiffany a cheerleader, Brittany on the volleyball team. "Last chance to run away," Tiffany taunted. Mira set her backpack down carefully. "I'm not going anywhere." "Your funeral!" Brittany cracked her knuckles. Mira stood, relaxed, hands at her sides. "Two against one doesn't seem fair." "Life isn't fair," Tiffany sneered. Tiffany lunged forward suddenly, aiming a slap at Mira's face. It was a telegraphed move, amateur and predictable. Mira simply wasn't there when the hand arrived. She had stepped slightly to the side, letting Tiffany's momentum carry her forward. Confused, Tiffany stumbled, then whirled around. "Lucky dodge." This time, both girls came at her together. Mira moved like water between them, hardly seeming to expend any effort as she avoided their grasping hands and wild swings. "Stand still," Brittany growled in frustration. "If you insist," Mira replied. She planted her feet and waited. Seeing what looked like an opening, Tiffany charged again, aiming a punch at Mira's stomach. This time, Mira didn't dodge. Her hands moved in a blur, catching Tiffany's wrist and using the girl's own momentum to flip her completely over. Tiffany landed hard on her back, the impact driving the air from her lungs. The crowd gasped. Brittany hesitated, then rushed at Mira. Mira sidestepped, caught Brittany's arm, and with precise pressure on a nerve point, brought the larger girl to her knees, grimacing in pain. "What the hell?" someone in the crowd whispered. Tiffany struggled to her feet, face contorted with rage and humiliation. "You bitch!" she screamed, charging again. This time Mira met her head-on. Her movements were controlled, efficient, beautiful in their precision. She blocked Tiffany's wild swings and swept the girl's legs from under her again. When Brittany tried to grab her from behind, Mira executed a perfect hip throw that sent the volleyball player flying over her shoulder to land beside Tiffany. The entire confrontation had lasted less than 2 minutes, and Mira wasn't even breathing hard. The circle of students had gone completely silent, staring in disbelief. Mira stood calmly in the center, while Tiffany and Brittany struggled to regain their feet. "What the hell are you?" Tiffany demanded, voice shaking. "I'm the same person I've always been," Mira replied. "The difference is now I'm done hiding it. You some kind of ninja freak?" "Krav Maga, actually. I've been training since I was 8. She looked between them. "We can keep going if you want, but I don't think it's going to end any differently." The fight seemed to drain out of both girls as they realized the extent of their miscalculation. "This isn't over," Tiffany threatened weakly, but there was fear in her eyes now. "Actually, it is," Mira said firmly. "You're going to leave me alone from now on. And not just me, you're going to stop bullying everyone at this school." Tiffany gave a bitter laugh. "Or what? You'll beat us up?" "No," Mira shook her head. "I won't need to, because everyone here has seen what happened. They know the truth now, that you're not as untouchable as you pretend to be, that someone finally stood up to you." She glanced around the circle of wide-eyed students. "And maybe next time it won't just be me." She turned to go, then paused. "Oh, and Tiffany, I think you owe me an apology for the hair." Tiffany's face flushed dark red, but she muttered, "Sorry about your hair." Mira nodded once, then picked up her backpack and walked away. The crowd parted silently to let her pass. The news spread through Westlake High like wildfire. By the end of the day, there were at least a dozen different versions of what had happened. In some tellings, Mira had knocked both girls unconscious. In others, she had performed gravity-defying martial arts moves like something out of an action movie. The reality was impressive enough. The smallest, quietest girl in school had taken on the 2 most feared bullies and walked away without a scratch. Mira found herself the center of attention for the first time in her life. People who had never spoken to her before suddenly wanted to sit with her at lunch. Girls who had previously snickered behind her back now asked if she could teach them self-defense. Emma approached her after math class. "That was the most amazing thing I've ever seen," she said with genuine admiration. "Where did you learn to fight like that?" "My father taught me," Mira explained. "He was in the Israeli Special Forces. Could you maybe show me some moves sometime?" Mira smiled, surprised but pleased. "I'd like that." The most dramatic change was in the behavior of Tiffany and her group. They gave Mira a wide berth in the hallways. The social media page dedicated to mocking her mysteriously disappeared. When they couldn't avoid crossing her path, they looked away, clearly uncomfortable. A week after the incident, Mr. Harmon, her English teacher, asked Mira to stay after class. "I've heard some interesting stories," he said once they were alone. "About you and a certain confrontation behind the gym." Mira tensed. "Am I in trouble?" Mr. Harmon sighed. "Fighting on school grounds is against the rules." "They attacked me first," Mira pointed out. "So I've heard." Mr. Harmon nodded. Curiously, neither Miss Blackwell nor Miss Chambers have filed any complaint. He studied her face. "The thing is, Mira, I've been teaching long enough to recognize bullying when I see it, and I've seen what those girls were doing to you. I should probably report the incident," Mr. Harmon continued, "but since no one was hurt, and since I've noticed a distinct improvement in the atmosphere around here lately," he shrugged. "Let's just say I'm choosing to believe nothing happened that would require disciplinary action." Relief washed over Mira. "Thank you, sir. Don't make me regret it," he warned, but there was a hint of a smile on his face. "And Mira, I'm glad you found your voice." As the weeks passed, The furor around Mira gradually died down. Her hair began to grow back, forming a soft, dark fuzz that she decided she rather liked. She kept it short, finding it suited her better than her old unruly mane. More importantly, she stopped trying to make herself invisible. She answered questions in class, joined the debate team, and even started a small self-defense club for girls. Emma became her first real friend at Westlake, and soon there were others. One afternoon, Mira was surprised to find Zach waiting for her after debate practice. "Can we talk?" he asked awkwardly. "I broke up with Tiffany," he said. "Congratulations." He looked embarrassed. "Look, I know I was a jerk. I went along with a lot of stuff I shouldn't have. The thing is," Zach continued, "what you did that day, standing up to them, it made me realize some things about myself, and I didn't like what I saw. And I'm sorry," he said simply, "for not stopping them, for being part of it, for lying about you flirting with me." "Yes, it was." Mira nodded. Then, seeing his genuine remorse, she relented slightly. "But apology accepted." "Thanks," Zach said, looking relieved. "Anyway, what you did, it was pretty amazing. You changed things around here." As he walked away, Mira realized he was right. She had changed things, not just for herself, but for others too. The bullying culture at Westlake was slowly shifting. That evening, as Mira practiced her katas in the backyard, her father came out to join her. "Your form has improved," he commented. "I've been practicing more," she admitted. He nodded, then asked, "Are you happy at your new school now?" Mira paused. "I think I am. It's different now, because of what happened with those girls." News traveled fast in their small community. Mira had finally told her parents about the confrontation, bracing for their disappointment. To her shock, they had been proud. "You defended yourself without causing harm," her father had said. "That is exactly what I trained you to do." "Now," she nodded, "that was part of it, but also because I stopped trying to be someone I'm not." Her father smiled, a rare expression that transformed his stern face. "That is the most important lesson, not the fighting, the courage to be true to yourself." The next day at school, Mira noticed a small freshman girl being cornered by a group of older boys. They weren't touching her, but they had her trapped against the wall making crude comments. Once Mira would have hurried past, head down. Now she changed direction without hesitation, walking straight toward the group. "Hey," she called out sharply, "leave her alone." The boys turned, annoyed. The largest one looked Mira up and down dismissively. "Mind your own business, Baldy." Mira met his gaze calmly. "I'm making it my business." Something in her stance must have telegraphed warning, because the boy's aggressive posture faltered. One of his friends tugged at his arm. "Dude, that's the ninja girl I was telling you about." Recognition dawned on the leader's face. "Seriously? This is her?" "Walk away," Mira suggested quietly. "It's the smart choice." For a moment it looked like the boy might challenge her. Then, with an eye roll that didn't quite mask his unease, he backed off. "Whatever. We were done here anyway." As they slouched away, the freshman girl stared at Mira with wide, grateful eyes. "Thanks," she whispered. "How did you do that?" I just stood up," Mira said simply. "You can do it too." "No way," the girl shook her head. "I'm not brave like you." "Bravery isn't the absence of fear," Mira told her, remembering her father's words. "It's feeling the fear and standing up anyway," she smiled. "I'm Mira, by the way." "Lily," the girl replied shyly. "Well, Lily, I run a self-defense club on Thursdays. You should come." As Lily nodded eagerly, Mira felt a surge of satisfaction. This was why she had trained all those years, not just to protect herself, but to help others find their strength too. She realized that in trying so hard to blend in, to be invisible, she had been denying her true self. It had taken losing her hair, that final humiliation, to make her see that she was stronger than she had allowed herself to be. As Mira headed to class, she caught a glimpse of her reflection, the short, dark fuzz of her regrowing hair, her straight posture, the confidence in her walk. She barely recognized the scared, hunched girl who had first walked through Westlake's doors. "That girl is gone," she thought with quiet certainty, "and she's never coming back." In her place stood someone who knew her own worth, who refused to be diminished by others' cruelty, who understood that true strength wasn't about dominating others, but about standing firm in your own power. It was a lesson hard won, but one she would never forget.